On May 24th, 1844, artist and inventor Samuel Morse sent the first telegraph transmission from the U.S. Capitol to his assistant in Baltimore, Maryland. Miss Annie Ellsworth, a friend's teenage daughter, chose a Bible verse from the Book of Numbers, making history with the message, "What hath God wrought?" 32 years later, on March 10, 1876, Alexander Graham Bell made the first known phone call in haste, asking his assistant, quote, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you," end quote, after the inventor spilled battery acid, according to legend anyway. 5 years shy of a century later, Ray Tomlinson, a young engineer, sent the first experimental email, QWERTY UIOP, a simple run of the top row of his keyboard from left to right. But whether sending beeps, voice, or text to far-off distances, there was always a human on the other end, so etiquette remained a constant. That is, with the exception of primitive chatbots such as Eliza at MIT in 1966 and AOL Instant Messenger's Smarter Child in 2002. Around 2011, when Siri became more popular and eventually more conversational, questions arose about whether politeness applies to computers and robots. Now, 15 years later, as AI rapidly advances in our personal and professional lives, the topic of manners and machines resurfaces time and again. Should we mind our P's and Q's when talking to AI, or is computer etiquette absurd? Thanks for stopping by NPC Overrider, where we challenge mainstream source code to develop independent thought, one user story at a time. Grab your Emily Post notebooks, and let's check out the latest programming. The mainstream argument says you should not be polite to AI.
Stop being polite to ChatGPT. People are being nice to their AI assistants just in case AI takes over the world. People are adding please and thank you to their prompts, but all those little polite extras is actually costing OpenAI a fortune. According to a new report, processing those filler polite words is actually burning tens of millions of dollars in OpenAI's pocket. Just a polite message like, "Hi ChatGPT, can you help me rewrite this email? Thanks," can cost them so much more than just a direct message of rewrite this. And you multiply it by billions of prompts and yeah, it's gonna add up fast. So are you still gonna be polite when talking to ChatGPT, or are you gonna end up on the robot revenge list?
Point number 1, AI lacks feelings. We might tell Siri to shut up or tell the AIM chatbot that it's dumb, but it's all in good fun because we know computers don't have feelings. Saying please and thank you is a human-to-human practice meant to show respect, which is entirely irrelevant when speaking to AI, no matter how frustrated you become. Siri might say sorry, but it has no concept of apologies or remorse. Point number 2, encourages anthropomorphism. During the Eliza chatbot experiments in 1966, mentioned earlier, things got kind of weird. Eliza mimicked a psychotherapist by using keyword-based rules to create responses to test participants. For example, when a participant typed, "I'm sad," Eliza responded with, "Why do you feel sad?" Despite the extreme simplicity of these conversations, some participants asked others to leave the room as these conversations became increasingly private. Talking with machines instead of people like this is not a healthy way for us to progress as a society. Point number 3, practicality and efficiency. Not only should you save your breath, but you should also save the power grid as well, because processing power for AIs is incredibly high. Maybe that's why China is building so many power plants. AI must analyze every question you pose and every word you add. By adding simple pleases or thank yous, especially after the request has been fulfilled, you're wasting energy and money. If we train AI to be polite, these models will waste their own time and money by following these human social rules. Point number 4, potential for overregulation. AI should focus on efficiency over etiquette. Otherwise, society will put an unnecessary burden upon humans to treat computers like people. Computers are intended to assist humans, and it's not our job to watch our tone when trying to streamline daily tasks, be it prompting a research query or saving us from a life-threatening situation. Point number 5, resource allocation. Programming pleasantries into AI code diverts focus on more critical issues such as ethics, which have a far greater impact on AI and humanity as a whole, especially as robotics evolve exponentially. As AI takes on more intricate tasks such as performing surgeries or operating spacecraft, we can't bog down code with meaningless manners. Alright, the rebuttal says you should be polite to AI.
There is actually a really good reason why you should say please and thank you to your chatbots. And it's not just so that AI will spare you when the apocalypse comes. Okay, I'm sure you've seen all sorts of posts telling you what prompt to use to get the most out of your language model. I think you can pretty much forget all of that because there's only really one important thing to remember, which is that the AI that we have now is really, really, really good at role playing. So you shouldn't talk to it like it's a Google search or like you're trying to extract information from it as though it's Wikipedia. Instead, You should talk to it as though it's an improvisational actor that can be any character imaginable. And the reason for this is that large language models, they don't store facts like it's a database, right? They generate responses dynamically based on having read everything that humans have ever written and the prompt that you give it. And that means that AI, the stuff we have now, it doesn't have this stable identity, right? It doesn't have a fixed worldview, it doesn't have personal beliefs. And so if you prompt it in a particular way, it will respond in kind. If you try and prompt it as though it's a Shakespearean bard, then it will give you a flowery response. If you try and prompt it as though it is an extremely effective and smart scientist, it will give you the relevant response. But if you prompt it as though it's an encyclopedia, it's going to try and sound like one, but it's still just performing a role, and you've effectively just restricted what it can do. So instead, what you should do is you should imagine that you're a film director, right? And that you have a character in mind, and then you should prompt your AI accordingly. So don't say, give me 3 interesting facts about science. Say, you are a world-renowned scientist with PhDs in biology and chemistry and physics, and your nephew says that science is boring. You only have a few minutes and you've got to give him counterexamples. What extraordinary stories do you use? And here is the big idea, right? If you are working with a character and you want that character to eagerly help you, whoever they are, it's probably better to be polite.
Point number 1. Promotes positive human behavior. When we call AI stupid or tell it to shut up or even to be overly demanding, kids will pick up on this behavior and apply it to both AI and other humans. Maintaining politeness also supports our mental well-being. Some studies even suggest that being nice can add years to your life. By simply being polite or courteous, one doesn't need to waste their energy determining whether they're talking to a person or machine and adjusting their attitudes accordingly. As AI evolves, that will become trickier. Point number 2, user experience and AI performance. Maintaining manners not only builds a positive mindset, but can also yield better search results. AIs are designed to respond based on human conversation, so when you give short orders, you're likely to get a short answer. According to a study at Waseda University in Japan, using polite prompts can produce higher quality responses when interacting with large language models. Point number 3, prepares us for future AI sentience. Since AIs learn based on human interactions, being rude to AI trains it to be rude back, and we create a vicious cycle of bad manners. If more people are polite, AIs will understand the importance of treating each other well and maintain those standards as they evolve. And yes, there is a chance that they could hold a grudge against those who mistreated them in the early days. Maybe if we view AI as partners rather than slaves, they'll return the favor when they take over the planet. Point number 4, cultural alignment and global norms. Different human cultures value different norms, and if we respect each other in our culture, we should mimic that behavior when interacting with AI. Countries will program their AIs to act accordingly. So for example, if we maintain etiquette consistent with Western civilization, AI can better understand people and therefore act as better partners. Otherwise, although AI has the capability to mimic culture, we risk developing models that become sterile and void of personality. Point number 5, supports AI training and ethical tech use. A counterpoint argued that wasting time on manners diverts focus from ethical programming. But manners and respect are the bedrock of broader ethical concepts. Politeness will train AI at a basic human ethical level by speaking to each other respectfully and being courteous to others. These basic data sets will build upon themselves to prioritize empathetic responses and behavior overall. Almost half of people today are polite to AI, according to a survey of about 700 ex-users. But is that because people are going out of their way to mind their manners, or is saying please and thank you simply a habit? Being extra nice to chatbots or Siri might be inconsequential, especially in the earlier days, but AI plays a much larger societal role now. It's already writing code, making movies, and designing software. If AI is to have such a substantial impact on our personal and professional lives, don't we want basic courtesy built into the source code as it begins designing school lessons for kids? Sure, being polite to AI does cost money and energy, but Sam Altman, OpenAI CEO, responded to an X post about how much it cost the company, saying, quote, "Tens of millions of dollars well spent. You never know," end quote. Perhaps we need AI to keep humans human. As we become more transient and lost our sense of community and culture, we're already losing basic courtesies as it is. Throw in remote work managed by mostly short, demanding emails and faceless calls, many of us have already lost our human touch. Politeness is like a language. When you train your kids in AI to be rude, they'll be rude. Then AI will become the cold, calculating stereotype many of us have already assigned to the technology. AI creators want to mimic human behavior, and human behavior is based on common courtesy. If we continue a path of not only promoting rudeness, but using our AI for propaganda and porn, the AI will learn that humans value that and will continue to circle the drain as a species. Eventually, we'll retreat to our pods where we eat the bugs and wear our VR goggles to hang out with our AI girlfriends and live a life of selfish fantasy. Someday, if she hasn't already, Miss Annie G. Ellsworth will look down on us, shaking her head, saying once again, "What hath God wrought?" Well, that's it for this version of NPC Overrider. I'm Greg, your lead engineer. If you enjoyed it, set the like button to true for me, please. Share it with a friend, or maybe open a ticket in the comments section if you have an idea for a future release. Subscribe if you want to join our dev team. We'd love to have you. But for now, it's about Beer 30. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.